Tennis is a visual sport and not an auditory sport. Visual stimulation, using the barriers, simulates a real game situation, transferring the information more efficiently when attempting to enhance ball control and placement. The selection of drills for the improvement of height, depth, and control also needs to be specific to the requirements of the player. There are many drills that players can use to increase these areas of the game. With that in mind, the following visual exercises that Alvaro will show you are more specific to tennis game situations.
The first drill that we're going to use, we're going to be playing the ball from the center of the court. With the advanced players, we use the barrier about 7 feet in front of the service line. If the skills of the player is not to that standard, it's a little more of intermediate beginner, we move the barrier more in front to the net, maybe 9 feet from the service line. The idea with these exercises are to work on consistency, work on control of the height of the ball over the net to reduce the mistakes that they are made or the unforced errors that are hit to the net. Also, the margin for error is big, and we tried for the advanced players to at least take 20 balls in play. A variation of the exercise we just did is to move the barriers to a cross-court position. So the ball is going to be played cross-court, exactly the same objectives that we explained on the center of the court, but now with the variation that whenever one of the players have the opportunity, the fifth ball, to go down the line and change directions, he can do that. So that is a perfect exercise to change the pace of the ball, change the speed of the ball, and change the direction. On average, we should be doing these exercises anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes until the players get the right rhythm and the right ball speed. If the players are not doing well with the consistency, we can move the barriers closer to the net, so the exercise becomes a little easier. As we move the barriers a little bit back, like between 6 to 6.5 feet in front of the service line, then the challenge becomes a little bit higher. A progression of the drill that we just did is to have a barrier on the back part, 7 feet behind the baseline, and that will force the player to be closer to the baseline, be more aggressive, getting the ball on the rise, taking time away from the opponent, which is modern tennis. The barrier on this side of the court, we're going to keep using it as a way to increase the margin of ball over the net, and also to give the depth on the court to be deeper. So the player right here is working on both, on being close to the baseline, getting under the level of the ball, and placing the ball deep onto the court. It's important that the player that is working here in front of the barrier is getting under the level of the ball. So we need to work on the loading, getting the legs below the level of the ball, and try to accelerate through the ball so we get that spin and the ball dropping on the other side of the court, deep on the other side of the court. On this exercise, the player that is by himself is changing directions of the ball. We're going to keep the barrier on the back part to keep him close to the baseline, and therefore being more aggressive, taking the ball on the rise, and practicing also on taking time away from the opponent. This exercise will help them create the spacing necessary to create winners and to move the ball around, moving the opponent around. Okay, on the next drill, we're going to take the top part of the front barrier here out, and we're going to utilize the bottom part as a guidance for the kick serve. So we have the player here serving out wide. The back barrier, which is on the baseline right now, is give us a reference or where the ball needs to go across. So, and how high the ball is going to go across. So if we can get the kick to be on the right side of that barrier and to bouncing higher than the second layer of the barrier, then we're doing a good job. We use about 40 to 50 serves in each of the sections, only working on that kick serve. The front barrier right here, the one that is close to the net, the base of the barriers are used also as a guidance where the ball needs to go through. It's like scoring a goal in soccer. A variation of this drill is to hit the ball with a slice. We can also use the base as a guidance where the ball has to go through, and after the bounce of the ball, the ball needs to be on the right side of the back barrier. The distance between the service line and where the barrier is right now is about 8 feet when we take the top part out. Okay. On this exercise for the volleys, what we're looking for is for the player not to chop the face of the racket below the level of the ball. So that's the reason why we're using the barrier as a guidance, so the head of the racket goes through a shot instead of coming down, which is an usual mistake with the intermediate or beginner player. Also, we are working on how low he's setting himself up with the ready position and the split step, keeping always the head of the racket above the level of the barrier. Excellent. Very good. The distance between the player and the barrier is between 4 and 5 feet. The idea is to attack the ball with the feet and to move forward through a shot.